jointly organized by the Ministry of Labour and Employment, Government of the and Deputy Director of Kingdom of Netherlands in Bangladesh, His Excellency Mr. Rana Industrial Bangladesh, Mr. Zafrul Hassan, Chairperson NCCWE, Asian Delegation of European Union to Bangladesh, and His Excellency Mr. Dan W. Muzena, Ambassador, Embassy of the United States, all to kindly observe a moment of silence to remember those who lost their lives on 24th April 2000. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We shall now start our program. Before welcoming the first speaker, could I earnestly request you to kindly put your mobile phones on silent? We are all eager. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I would first like to request Mr.
Geneva. This sector has been providing employment opportunity around 4 million market access.
Khalida was one of Bangladesh's millions of hours trapped under the rubble of Rana Plaza, the deadliest industrial accident in the history of the garment industry. What happened that day is never far from her mind. The building started trembling. There was lots of noise and I started running forward. After 5 or 6 steps, I couldn't see anything, and I started falling down like an elevator. I was crying. The roof was so close that it was touching my nose, and every time I breathed, I could feel it on my face. We thought we were going to die, and we were saying goodbye to each other. Bangladesh's garment industry is vast and vital to the country's economy. In the years since Rana Plaza, the government of Bangladesh, the garment industry, trade unions, and the international community have come together to ensure higher standards of safety in the workplace and make garment workers more aware of their rights. With the support of the International Labour Organization, teams of structural engineers, fire safety experts, and electrical engineers are systematically inspecting ready-made garment factories in Bangladesh.
If we find that there is a problem in a factory, then we will immediately evacuate that building and stop.
Positive impact on their businesses. Important changes are also underway in the industry. In the past 15 months, more than 130 trade unions have registered in Bangladesh. Just 2 were created in the previous 3 years. The national labor law has been amended. The government has upgraded the labor inspection process and has created nearly 400 positions for labor inspectors, whom the ILO will help train.
I see this as a change process, a beginning of a change process. Thank all of you for also how the international community is supporting these initiatives at the national level. Looking at the labor law, there's more than 50 workers. There has to be a mandatory, compulsory joint safety committees of the employers and workers organizations to raise the issues relating to safety and to talk about safety issues and carry it forward. We are waiting for the rules to be completed so that these safety committees can be duly elected, representing the workers organizations and employers representatives. That's a significant change. There is improved protection for workers representatives in the new law, and also more importantly, reports are at various stages of processing.
And the industry were profoundly unsafe. Following the collapse, the government of Bangladesh, local industry, international buyers, and labor groups committed to reforming the sector. The result of this was the tripartite plan of action, and this plan of action is central to the efforts to reform the sector. The commitment and leadership of the government of Bangladesh is essential for any reforms that we're going to see moving forward. In the last year, significant progress has been made, and you've heard from the ILO about some of the success stories. We now have common inspection standards. The process of hiring additional inspectors has begun, and there's now a nascent database. We've had a number of inspections through the Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology and the Accord and the Alliance. And some important amendments have been made to the Labor Act, and some compensation and rehabilitation support has been provided to victims. However,
social and labor standards in too many of the factories. Consequently, this has resulted in unsafe working conditions, sexual harassment, poor wages, and intimidation and violence against labor activists. Now, 1 year after the Rana Plaza tragedy, we see the strong collaboration between the national and international stakeholders to transform the Bangladeshi garment sector. Never before have so many initiatives been undertaken, and important progress has been made. However, many challenges still remain to be tackled, and Henry Pruden already eloquently mentioned many of them.
1 year on from the Rana Plaza tragedy, progress has been made in addressing the many challenges facing the industry. I did not imagine 1 year ago that so many stakeholders would work so closely together to try to make a real difference. Concrete commitments have been made by manufacturers, brands, development partners, and the government of Bangladesh. We should recognize this. It shows we can make progress when we all work together to achieve a common objective. We can achieve a healthy, safety, and sustainable garment sector which benefits all those involved. I wish to be absolutely clear about one point. I have said it before.
চলে যাচ্ছে, কোনো লেট হচ্ছে না, কোনো বাচ্চাদের মধ্যে হচ্ছে না, বা আগে নাইট হতো এটা হচ্ছে না, তারপরে ছেলে মেয়ে রিল্যাক্সে আছে, এরকম রিল্যাক্সে থাকাটাই খুবই ভালো। একদম অসুস্থ হয়ে গেল, ছুটির দরকার, সে স্যারের কাছে বলতে পারতেছে না, তো স্যার যাইতেছে, আসতেছে, দেখতেছে, কিন্তু সাহস পাচ্ছে না।
Just 2 unions during the preceding 3 years. This is a significant change. আমরা আগে অনেক কমিটি করেছি, এখানে কিছুটা গ্যাপ ছিল। আমাদের রানা প্লাজার যে এক্সপেক্টটা, এটা আনএক্সপেক্টেড ছিল একদম পুরো জাতির জন্য। এটা যদি আমাদের ফ্যাক্টরিগুলোতে যদি এখন যে কর্ম অবস্থা এবং ইউনিয়নের যে প্রভাব, যদি একটা আমার ফ্যাক্টরিতে এরকম ফাটল দেখা যায়, এরকম একটা দুর্ঘটনা থেকে আমরা নিজেদেরকে সাবধান করে তুলতে পারি।
80% নেই এখানে, যার জন্য আমাদের মহিলা হসপিটালের প্রয়োজন। ওরা দীর্ঘদিন কাজ করছে, কাজ করতে পারবে, আমাদের একটা কাজের প্রোডাকশন হবে ভালো, আমাদের কোম্পানি টাকা পাবে, ওখান থেকে কোম্পানি যদি ভালো হয় তাহলে আমরাও ভালো পাবো, কিন্তু আমাদের কোম্পানি যদি নাম আছে তাহলে তো আমরা চাইতে পারবো না। বাইরে দেখা যাবে অনেক ফ্যাক্টরিতেই 5 তারিখের জায়গায় 6 তারিখে হলে গ্যাঞ্জাম ঝামেলা, ওটা সেটা মারামারি কাটাকাটি হয়, কিন্তু ইউনিয়নটা হলে বাইরে
what the workers or the trade unions themselves they are thinking about, or in which direction they are looking at this. The trade here from the director of IELO and also from the secretary of the ministry mention has been made that the law has been amended. Yes, the law has been amended and some improvement has been made in terms of inspection, in terms of workplace safety and other things. But I'm not sure, and I must say the trade union movement is fully dissatisfied about this amended labor law, and we are demanding that unless this law is rightly amended, actually in terms of workers' rights, in terms of the formation of the trade union, or in terms of operation of the effective operation of the trade union, this labor law is not going to help the workers. That
lot of factories, meantime, they have to shut down the factory
Factories is not shut down by alliance or accord. I want to be very much clear. It is going to shut down by the law of the government, by law of the land. If the factories alliance and accord, they are going to see these factories and they are seeing that no, it's not the right direction, not the right factory to continue the business. So they will be recommending this one to the review committee. And review committee, there's 2 engineers from Kuwait, of course they are sitting there, the honorable Kuwait engineers, and one for alliance and one for accord. And if they have a unanimous decision, yes, this factory need to be closed, of course this factory has to be closed. I'm just giving an example. All the honorable ambassadors are here, our sprinkler system. My friend, Mr. Brad, is in front of me. He was saying, this is very expensive, the sprinkler. Very expensive, the fire door. Very expensive, other items. When we are going to buy these kind of things, our bank is asking 18% of interest. Other hand, we are saying the million takas is reserved in our country. So what we saying that we need to be work together. I had a talk with the government peoples of Bangladesh, to the commercial, our commerce minister. I had a talk yesterday night with the prime minister. I had a talk our the finance minister. Everybody saying that they believe that they need to lot of change, especially the fire safety and building safety of the equipments. And for your kind information, the duty was 61%. It has already been reduced 15%. The duties of light. Unfortunately, the light, which light we are using into our drawing room and dining room, that is also 131% duty. The light we are going to use exit for the fire safety also, that is also 100%.
And today's report should remind us of the continued suffering of many victims. We call for rapid and full compensation of the victims and a coordinated approach in this area. Today we're commemorating the anniversary and we're reflecting on what has happened over the last year. Rana Plaza had to be a turning point. I think Atikul has talked about a paradigm shift, a real turning point in how both safety and labour issues, both issues, are dealt with in Bangladesh. And the European Union, as Bangladesh's largest export market, had a special responsibility to act. And on the 8th of July last year, we launched the Sustainability Compact, together with Bangladesh and the ILO, and the US also soon after associated itself with that compact. And we recognise since then significant progress has been made. We've heard about it today, the amendments to the labour law, strengthening the fundamental rights of workers, freedom of association, collective bargaining, new trade unions being established. Workers now are more vocal. We saw the video, very clear. Workers more vocal where those unions exist. Common standards for factories. Factory inspections now taking place. More inspectors being recruited, and the details of the inspections, slowly but surely, we're beginning to see them. They're publicly available. Despite this, much more remains to be done. We need to work on this ability to ensure safety and health at work. Freedom of association needs to improve. And we need to make sure that the new regulation is really implemented in practice and that industry sticks to its commitments in this respect. It should become easier to establish a trade union. Workers should be able to organise and exercise their right without fear of harassment, intimidation or harm. And it's very important that the implementing rules we've discussed this for the Labour Act would be adopted as soon as possible. And we also urge the Bangladesh authorities to act immediately to ensure that the outstanding areas of the Sustainability Compact are implemented in law and in practice. Further amendments to the labour law
Today, tragedy befell Bangladesh. The collapse of Rana Plaza brought down thousands of tons of concrete upon innocent RMG workers. When the rescue ended, 1,135 were dead. So many beacons of light prematurely snuffed out. For injured and maimed, we honor the families that have forever been torn apart by those tragic events. It is fitting that we pay such honor to these innocent victims, but our words today shall not long endure. They pale when compared to the tragic losses of a year ago. I know but one monument befitting the tragedy of Rana Plaza. On this day, the 1-year anniversary of Rana Plaza, each of us, we must recommit ourselves to ensuring that never again will Bangladesh experience the anguish of another Rana Plaza building collapse. No, never again. I believe Bangladesh is making impressive progress toward that end, toward ensuring that the workers of Bangladesh will never again find their lives forfeited at the altar of callous greed as workers' lives are put at risk for undue profit. History is again being made in Bangladesh. Powerful forces are at play to transform Bangladesh's ready-made garment sector by bringing all RMG factories to international standards in terms of fire safety, factory structural soundness, and respect for workers' rights to freely associate and organize. America, through the GSP Action Plan to restore these trade privileges to Bangladesh. America and the EU, who together constitute 85% of Bangladesh's RMG market and who associate with Bangladesh in the Sustainability Compact. The major buyers through the Alliance and Accord, who are supporting safety inspections of their source factories. The ILO, with support from Canada, from Netherlands, from UK, overseeing inspections of all the thousands of factories outside the Alliance and Accord network. Workers who in the past 15 months have created over 140 real unions, in contrast to only 2 total for the previous 2 years. Many owners who understand the need to bring the industry to global standards. Development partners like America, like so many others who are funding initiatives to support sector transformation. And most especially, the government of Bangladesh providing stronger, more effective leadership.
I would not like to repeat. Just let me just echo and reiterate and associate myself to the key message delivered by our country director through our presentation in terms of what has been achieved. I want to reiterate that as I've had the opportunity to say it in the last few days. So, with your permission, Excellency, Honorable Minister, I just want to focus on where do we go from here. The heart of the matter is that we know a lot has been done. We know change management is very difficult for any organization, yet we also know that business as usual is out of question. Therefore, where do we go from here? I want to use this opportunity at least to focus on very key specific messages. One is the compensation issue. It is very hard, very difficult to stay here today and say that the victims still cannot be adequately compensated. That will be a shame. And I'm calling on all of us, all the stakeholders, to step up to the plate. The second point is the importance of the coordination effort. Whatever success has been achieved today, I believe it came primarily from the fact that with the alone or NCCWE or industrial, all of us have to forget the small differences, the little differences here, and focus on the essential. And I know that will continue. My thanks to the national social partners.
Print and electronic media. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon. I start my speech with a feeling of grief and sadness as we have reached a year after tragic collapse of Rana Plaza. Let us all pray for those who have died and those who have got injured as a consequence of that collapse. Let us all express our condolences to the near and dear ones of those who have got affected by that collapse. We can't bring the dead young men and women back to life and can't give back the quality of life that the injured are enjoying through the incident. What we are doing is we are working relentlessly for the welfare of the affected families and trying to make our workplaces, particularly ready-made garment factories, safe so that any such tragic events never happen in future. Distinguished guests, since 1980s, the ready-made garments R&D industry in Bangladesh has experienced exponential growth. At present, R&D sector earns considerable amount of foreign currency as exports from Bangladesh. This sector contributes around 13% to the GDP, which was only around 3% in 1991. About 4 million workers are in society to support the rehabilitation and job placement of the survivors. A total of 300 survivors were provided with skill development training so that they can be able to find a job in other sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, following the Rana Plaza collapse, the government, with the support from the IELO, has been undertaking and coordinating a fire safety and structural integrity assessment of all active R&D factories under National Tripartite Plan of Action. This is being undertaken by a Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology, BUET, lead team of 9 other universities. So far, BUET lead team has inspected 250 factories for electrical and fire safety and 200 buildings for structural assessment. Inspection of the remaining factories will be completed by the end of the year. All inspections are carried out using a uniform set of minimum inspection standards developed by BUET. The government has also formed a review panel comprising of technical experts and alliances to take immediate steps for factories with major defects. Distinguished guests, Bangladesh Labour Act 2006 is in operation as we did not face any major impediment to implement this law. However, considering the global scenario and existing socio-economic condition of the country, we have amended the Bangladesh Labour Act 2006 in July 2013, which removed certain obstacles to union registration. The government has increased minimum wage for the R&D worker from Bangladesh taka 3,000 US dollar, $38.46 to BDT Bangladesh taka 5,300 US dollar 68. The government followed this recommendation and announced the new minimum wage on 21st November 2013 with effect from 1st December 2013. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in line with commitments made by the government, the Inspectorate of Factories and Establishment has been formally upgraded to a department on 15 January 2014 with 993 staff and 23 district officers. A total of 39 inspectors, out of which 7 female, have been recruited in January 2014. Recently, the Public Service Commission has recommended for recruitment of another 25 inspectors. The aim of the upgradation is to increase capacity building with more autonomy and providing with resources, financial and human, to operate a credible institute.